Hi, I'm Sandy Genovese, and we are looking at, believe it or not, a Thanksgiving project today. I want to show you how easy it is to make pumpkin place cards, or they could even be pumpkin centerpieces. If you look here, I have two of them, and they look similar, but they're assembled slightly differently. Let me move this out of the way. This one, I've cut all the pumpkins out, same shape for in both projects, but before I fan this one out, I'm going to flatten it so you can see. What I did was I stapled. All of them were folded. I just came in here and stapled it together so that there's just a staple all the way through. Then went back, and some pumpkins need to be reverse folded, but once you have it stapled and you tweak them, refold, you can open it up to create this fun dimensional element. It does want to let you slightly see those staples. If that bothers you, you can, instead of stapling, you can glue. And that's what I did with this one. So two sides are glued together, and I'm going to show you how to do it. The only downside to this one is it takes twice as many pumpkins to make it look as full, because two of these are glued together, and that gives you less volume. In order to do it, you want to start with a pumpkin shape, and a pumpkin shape is easy enough to draw. You want it to be symmetrical, so I've just taken green to show you that you want a basic pumpkin shape that's symmetrical. But notice the symmetry. If you use the stem, if you go back and you look at mine, you can see that the tops of my pumpkins, I've gone ahead to add some more color, and I've decorated them with green. It's not a very big shape, and by the time I decorate the front and the back of each pumpkin and I fold it, it tends to want to come loose and pop off. So I think it works best to take your pumpkin shape, once you've gone ahead and you've created it on an angle, but move the stems so the stem is either completely on the right side or completely on the left side, either way. But if you look at my pumpkin, it still looks like a pumpkin, but when I fold it so that it matches up, notice that the stem is completely on one side. It just means you're not going to have to keep folding through that little piece, and it just makes it easier to work with is all. Once you've got your pumpkin shapes, you want to cut out matching dark orange and light orange. So here I've got a stack of dark orange and light orange. Before we start assembling, another thing that I did, these work pretty well, but on some surfaces, if you have a tablecloth and it's a little bumpy, the curvedness of the pumpkin shape isn't as stable as if you go back, like you can see I did here, and cut a little square, just cut a little edge off the bottom that makes it completely flat. That will just make it a little sturdier. If you decide to make these larger pumpkins, then it might be even more important. So you're going to cut out a stack of dark orange, a stack of light orange, and if you want, you can also trim the bottom of the pumpkin to make a flat edge. Once you've done that, you want to add the stems. And whenever I add something that's little, if you haven't seen me show this before, this is just a Post-it note. You peel off the Post-it note. This is the sticky part. This top part is where the stickiness is. So take your shapes, put them on the sticky part of the Post-it note. It will hold it solid while you take your adhesive, and you go back now and add adhesive. And I'm putting adhesive on what would be the front side and the back side, because you're going to take this and take your pumpkin shape and place the colored stem on what would be the front, and then I'm going to flip it over and place another colored stem on what would be the back. This way you'll have a really, when you look at your finished pumpkin, it's nice to have that variation, and it just makes it more obvious that it's a pumpkin. You're going to want to do that on all your pumpkin shapes. So let me grab some where I've already done that and kind of move these out of the way. Remember, there's two choices. If you're going to staple, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just alternate. First of all, notice that they're all folded. So you want to fold all of them in half. And then I'm going to take a dark orange and then alternate it with a light orange, then dark, then light. Just keep going with as many layers as you want to create your pumpkin. think maybe I will do one more of this and one more of this. And then, and this is actually more than the one that I first showed you, so it's going to be even more full. Then come in, and I'm trying to decide if it's easier for you to see this if I turn it over and you look at the mountain or the valley fold, but you want to staple right in that folded edge. So I'm going to bring the stapler in, and just in the center, I'm going to staple all the way through all those layers. And now you can see that all I have to do is just fan out all the pumpkins. So I'm reverse folding on some of them and just refolding on others, so that as they get all fanned out, it's just, I mean, it's incredibly easy. This is a really fun project to do with the kids because it's going to decorate the table. Now, I mentioned a place card. If it's going to actually label where somebody sits, of course you're going to want to put their name. So what I've done, I'll bring this over and show you, is I've cut out some leaves, you can see, and I even have die cut some shapes that look sort of like the little tendrils that come off of a pumpkin shape. Because the staple is only in the middle, these layers open up. So I can take, and I'll try to do this from the top so you can see, I can fasten without having to glue anything. Let me see if I can open this so you can see. See how you can open these up and place inside these layers any of the leaves that have the names of the guests. And you can also, if you want what looks like these little tendrils, you can add these as well. It just kind of finishes it off and it makes it look like a place card. Now, if you decide that you don't want to go the staple route and you want to glue it, let me show you how you do that. You want to just take, once again, you have the two different colors, the lighter and the darker. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and they're once again, they've all been folded. The process up to this point is identical. But at this point, I'm going to actually glue. So I'm going to put adhesive and I'm going to glue these together. Let me put just a little swatch. You're going to want way more than that. Solid adhesive in there. Glue, this is why you want these to be symmetrical. Glue these two layers together. And then if I'm going to glue to this side, I want a light orange next. So once again, remember, way more adhesive than that, but I'm going to fasten this like so. And then do the same thing, more adhesive, and this time add the darker orange. So you can see, I'm not going to stop to do the whole thing, but see how you've glued the layers together. You're going to keep going. When you finally have as many layers as you want, instead of adding another one, take the existing two pieces and glue them together. This only has 4, which wouldn't be near enough for me, but if I bring back up the one that's already all the way glued, this one has lots more pumpkins. And you can see that once again, because they're glued together, you have the same number of pumpkins will look more full when it's stapled. If you want to turn it into centerpieces, just start with larger pumpkins. And I would have lots of different sizes. It goes together really quickly and easily, and it looks great. So whether you want a table centerpiece or you want a place card, these dimensional pumpkins are perfect for both.